Well, I bet this wasn't what you were thinking. We'll be talking about it all today on Second Breakfast. Hello there, I'm Musty Hobbit, and there's nothing that a Hobbit loves more than another helping of Second Breakfast. So welcome back, and what is an Xbox guy doing with this? I had a crazy good trade-in deal at a GameStop recently that I decided to make an impulse buy, and I went ahead and pulled the trigger on getting a PlayStation VR. And I wanted to take some time to talk about my early experience with the headset and sort of the experiences that I've had thus far and what my kind of mindset is going forward with this as a piece of hardware for someone who has been skeptical about VR up to this point. Now, as I said, I had a pretty good deal at GameStop. There was a very healthy trade-in for my base model Xbox One, which I traded in and actually got close to $140 for that system, which was just crazy good deal. Aside from that, right now they're going for like $60 in trade. So I had that and a few other things that I had traded up. And so the barrier to get to the PSVR was not an overly expensive monetary expenditure for me. So I decided to pick up the Skyrim bundle. It's the one with the two Move controllers, the copy of Skyrim, and the copy, this is the Demo Disc 2.0. And I have dove into a few of those. I have played about an hour of Skyrim so far, and I've looked at a couple of experiences on the marketplace. And to this point, I'm actually very impressed with the headset. To me, the weight on it is about right. I know some people feel like it's a little top heavy. It seems to sit right on my head. I seem to have decent amount of balance. It doesn't really feel overly cumbersome. The only complaint I think I have about the feel so far is that after a long session, my forehead tends to be a little bit, the skin there tends to be a little bit dry, so I just need to moisturize more after the fact. Anyways, the thing that I've really enjoyed thus far, though, has been the immersion with regards to the system. The thing I want to talk about in particular is the SpiderMan VR demo that was tied into Homecoming last year. That experience is just way too cool. You end up putting on the Spider-Man outfit, you end up looking at yourself in the mirror, and you kind of move around, and you're on top of this building terrace, and they're having you kind of do these like gallery shooter type things. You're shooting webs at balloons and pulling posters off of walls and things like that. One of the coolest things that I did, and I think I was seated or I may have been kneeling at that point, was I turned around and I bent over and I looked down what is easily a 15-story building to the street below. And it was one of the weirdest experiences because my body knew that I was safe, but I felt uncomfortable, which was just, I know that's not something that a lot of people would say is a good thing, but it felt really cool to trick myself in that manner. There's another part of that where you end up going up to the top of a crane, and I've never dealt well with heights, and I had one of those mini panic moments. And to those of you who are like, well, that sounds horrible, why would you do that? The point of the VR headset and the point of the experiences that they're trying to do is to convey this type of virtual reality. It's the whole concept, and it to this point so far, and I haven't tried some of the higher end VR headsets, this does the trick. I was shocked at how well it executed on that. So I dove into some of the demos. I've tried Thumper, which is a game that I was playing on my Switch. I've tried Moss for a little bit. I tried Bound and a few others, and it's a very responsive thing. The illusion of this is it works. It works. But one of the things that happened, and one of the things that I did, is I convinced my wife to try it. And she was super skeptical. She was like, I had to reassure her that, you know, all she needs to do if she's feeling like she needs to get out is just to close her eyes and not open them, and then we'll get her out. I had her do that Spider-Man demo, and she did the same things I did. She checked to see how far down the building was. She was moving around, and seeing her enjoy that from somebody who doesn't game the way that I game was really cool, and it really kind of convinced me that this thing is viable to some extent. One of the other things that I like, and one of the things that is an interesting feature, is that for games that do not have a VR function, or just for standard viewing of of any content, including things like Netflix and Twitch and those, you can watch those in the headset. And effectively what it does is it projects a very large screen. It is a screen floating out in darkness, but effectively it's like having a much larger screen than any of us could have in our homes. TV on our face, as some may say. And I've kind of enjoyed that in certain instances. Now, I tried Skyrim. The big test of this is going to be your heavy-duty AAA title, and I played about an hour of Skyrim or so, and some of the things I like about Skyrim, the opening, right? You're on that cart, and I could actually turn and look at all of the characters because I was in a fixed location at that point. The thing that's kind of tricky with Skyrim is that you have to move your feet, and moving your feet, effectively you point at a spot and you say, I want to go there, and you warp very quickly to that location. Based on how encumbered you are, you can move further distances at once or not. And this gets tricky when you are trying to get into combat, especially melee combat, because you're effectively, you can have your shield up in one hand, you're swinging with your other arm. I could see myself getting overly tired over a very long time of playing that. But just the mobility, the ability to dodge and things like that really is not that much of an option, at least not in my early playthrough. I'm probably more likely to play through as a ranged character, maybe a bow and arrow type character, but the moment that somebody closes on me, I'm going to be in a lot of trouble. So my verdict is kind of out on that at this point. What I do want to give a try, and I have yet to do this, Wipeout VR has a mode. Again, that's a driving, sort of very fast racer type of mode. I did just grab PSVR Worlds, and this has experiences that are specifically catered for the VR. I think this is going to be my bigger test that I need to do. This is still sealed because it just came in the mail. So. But what I'm looking for, and what I think, I mean, it has me for the first year since this has been announced. Last year I was really skeptical about it. Last year I was kind of down on the whole VR part of Sony's presentation that just was kind of boring to me. There wasn't a whole lot to talk about, and this has me optimistic. I'm interested to see what it is that they are going to put out there. I think that the system is moving, and I think that it's kind of growing with popularity. I'm not throwing all my eggs behind it and saying that this is going to be the new future, but I feel like Sony really wants to put their money down on PSVR, and if they want to kind of differentiate themselves from Nintendo and Xbox by going in that direction, then I'm interested to see what they do to make that case. But all in all, from me, and effectively an Xbox backer and one who is way in on that system, I've been very happy with the PS4 Pro that I have and the PSVR purchase to this point. I'm very optimistic as far as what this could mean going forward. E3 is going to be a big indicator as far as what the future of VR looks like, but having given it a little bit of time, I am fairly impressed so far. I know the big plan is to talk more about that in the coming weeks as we lead up to E3. I do want to talk more about what I really want to see out of each of the big three, and so we will definitely be hitting those. Again, to those of you who are aware of my move, we are weeks away from closing on the new house. I have been putting down meticulously the little plans on how the room is going to lay out, what the shelving situation is going to look like, and I am looking forward to doing some kind of a video on that setup. And it may come in phases, but at least I want to kind of let you guys learn through my process, and maybe you'll find that interesting. Anyways, I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap up there. Thank you for coming by. Please like the video if you did, and subscribe if you are not already. But for now, I have been Musty. Take care of yourself. Be good to each other. Bye.